All right. Hello. We're going to now roll into our post-race press conference here for our race winner. Christopher Bell will join us here in just a few minutes. So we're going to go ahead and get started with race-winning crew chief Adam Stevens and team representative Coy Gibbs. Coy, thanks for joining us as well. Adam, I'll start with you. If you don't mind to take us through that race, those final kind of laps there. We had Christopher on a Zoom earlier this week, and he was very focused and very confident that his team could pull this off. Mm-hmm. So tell us a little bit about this week and how you guys executed today.
Yeah, it was just a great weekend, honestly. We didn't have the best race here in the spring, but we learned a lot, and since then our program's made a lot of progress. And didn't have the best test here in August, but we learned quite a few things not to do, and the 11 learned a few things that were working for them, and we kind of took that and made it our own coming into this weekend, and had a decent practice. Bell had some good feedback. The balance wasn't where we wanted it, but we had decent lap time in it, especially with laps on tires. So we really felt like if we could get the balance to hang on, that we'd have some speed, and didn't qualify well, but we knew we had a good race car. And that first run there, driving from 20th up to, I think, 7th, I knew that we really had something that could contend for the win. So it was just a matter of keeping the balance where he wanted it and adjusting to the racetrack and putting him in a position that he could do his job. And he just did such a good job being aggressive when he needed to be and taking care of the tires when he needed to and had the opportunity to. And just maximize the whole day. And the pit crew had an outstanding day and stepped up to the plate. And nights like this, days like this, are what this 20 team is capable of. So it's just a matter of everybody performing at their highest level, and this is the result.
All right. We've now been joined by our race winner, Christopher Bell. Congratulations, Christopher, on that win. In the interest of time, we are going to go ahead and roll straight into questions. We're going to do our best to get to as many as we can. And to kick us off, I'm going to start with Dustin Long and then Jordan. Go ahead, Dustin.
Dustin Long, NBC Sports. Christopher, second round in a row where it's a must-win situation. What have these playoffs been like? Is this what you expect out of yourself? Have you learned anything about yourself the last few weeks? What's the last month been like with what you've had to face and the ups and downs?
Yeah, it's just been a roller coaster of emotions for sure. I think I've been praying for off season for 2 out of the last 4 weeks, and now I'm ready to race again. So, the round of 12 was extremely disheartening because I felt like the round of 8 was going to be really good for us, and that would have led to a possible championship run. But then when we got out of Texas with DNF and Talladega sucked, and just being so down. But the team behind me, everyone at Joe Gibbs Racing, they still perform to their highest level, and I feel like whenever I get in the car and I put my helmet on, I try and do as good of a job as I can of not letting anything bother me. And, they, I don't know, like no matter what's going on, behind the scenes, whenever you get in the car, you can't let that bother you. And they gave me a great race car today, the fastest car today. And then at the Charlotte Road Course when we needed to win, it worked out for us.
Also, Coy, obviously it's sweeping the weekend, but with yesterday's win, there's certainly some controversy with how Ty won. How do you address that moving forward, and what kind of an impact does that have on an organization with only having one car in the championship, where potentially could have had 2 in the championship?
Yeah, no, I'll answer that first. Though, 200th win, 31st year we've been in business, so that's huge. That's exciting for it. We actually still have our first employee, Jimmy Makar. He's getting ready to kind of shift into a different role. Yeah, yesterday is disappointing. That's not what we wanted for our race team. So, we haven't met as a group yet because we've been at the racetrack and all over the place. but we'll meet and we're going to deal with that internally and handle that. I agree with you. It would be awesome to have 2 cars. It would have been awesome to have. I thought we had 2 cars in the chase today until a white missile went by at the last second. So, but no, just excited for Christopher and fun. Like a lot of times you don't get to see them grow. You know, you got an older guy that's coming in and already established. So that's what's exciting for me. And Adam and all the guys did a great job. Pit crew killed it today. So that's why we race right there.
Is that just the big main message to Ty? Is just the big picture? Obviously, he's been very focused on winning, and look, it's gotten him to this level, and it's worked very well. But how do you
Yeah, I mean, I think when you're young, you make mistakes, and hopefully you learn from them. I think that's the message that we'll deliver to them. And obviously, with teammates, that's a whole different ball game. So there's a couple things we need to go over. But like I said, we haven't met as a group yet. We'll meet. Our leadership group will meet, and we'll deal with the situation.
All right, Jordan.
Jordan Bianchi, The Athletic. This question's for Adam. Adam, you're the only 2-time active crew chief, championship-winning crew chief in the garage. Does that give you any kind of leg up on anybody going into the finale?
Maybe. I mean, I know what to expect out of these weekends. We had a streak there where we went to quite a few of them in a row, and we finished in every possible spot you can finish in a 4-car battle. So it happened to be first a couple times. So, you know, other than that, probably not. It's going to be who can bring the best car and do the best job. But I think we showed what this team's capable of tonight. So I feel really good about the spot we're in. I feel really good about the progress we've made this year as a team and with our setups and our package and what we're trying to accomplish. You know, I know what the weekend's all about and the week leading up to it's all about, and we're going to go there and see what we can do.
And the second question is for Coy. Coy, when you see these moments that Ty has been in this year at different times, is there any question about whether he's fully prepared, whether he has the maturity to handle a cup on a full-time basis next year?
Well, I think that's part of the process, and that's why you work your way up, so you can make those mistakes, typically at a lower level. So, you know, there's look, he's my kid. I appreciate his aggression, but sometimes, you know, you got to pull back a little bit, and this is a place where we need to pull back some and just talk to him and explain to him that doing that affects not just him, it affects our whole company. You know, all our sponsors, all the people we deal with, affects Toyota, obviously affected Brandon. So, you know, those are the things that maybe you're not thinking of in that split second, but hopefully we can get with him and educate him on those things.
All right, Cluck, go ahead.
I feel like, Christopher, I've asked you this different roller coaster up or down every week in this playoffs or something, but now you're back up on top. How do you know, your mindset has been so all over the place, and it's been hard to, you know, stay even keel. So how do you stay even keel going into this championship race next week with everything that's on the line?
Yeah, I mean, this next week is easy. You know, we don't have to focus on stage points or where we're at compared to everyone else. It's just one race, and like Adam said, whoever brings the best car and executes the best is going to win the race and the championship. So, you know, I think whatever happens, and I'm very proud to be in this position. You know, it's all about the sport's all about people, and fortunately for me, I ended up with the best people around me.
All right, we're going to go to Mark and then Lee.
Mark Garrow, PRN. Christopher, as I look at this, a lot of us have looked at what you did at the Roval here is like walk-off home runs. What does it feel to hit not one, but 2 walk-off home runs?
Yeah, I mean, it's just I don't think it's sank in yet. And one thing that is very unique about the playoff system and the wins that we have had, you know, they don't feel like at least for me, I don't feel like I've won a cup race yet. I feel like I, you know, transferred in the playoffs and I get to go race for a championship. And in a way, the playoffs overshadow the race wins. So whenever you have a race win in the regular season, it's cherished and you feel like it's a big deal where, you winning a race in the playoffs, especially the way that we did, like, it's like, wow, we've won 3 races this year, but it just feels like we're focused on the playoffs and we're on to the next round. And that's what that's what the shining star is, not the race wins right now. So, maybe a couple weeks down the road, couple days down the road, we'll look back at it and say, wow, I won another race, which was really cool at one of my worst racetracks statistically. So definitely, short term, it's not a race win. It's an advance in the playoffs, and we're get a chance to race for a championship. But long term, it is a race win.
All right, we'll come up front to Lee.
Adam, I'm just curious, how have you seen him mature over the last 2 years? Because, granted, he didn't start out in the best equipment in the 95, but it's like since the two of you have gotten together and built something, it just really seems special. And I know his immense talent, but, where do you see this going?
Yeah, so hang on. Before Adam answers that, so, the 95, and I, after living the success that I've had specifically this year in 2021, looking back at 2020, I feel like that entire group just didn't get a fair shake at it. Jason Ratcliffe, I feel terrible for him. Everyone at LFR, just the hand that we were dealt with COVID and getting practice and qualifying taken away from us. Our equipment was good. Like it was not a question of equipment. It was a matter of not being able to showcase what we were capable of doing. And by not having practice, not having qualifying, we weren't able to get in a groove. And I think a little bit of that happened to us last year. Like, we weren't able to dial in what I need in a race car, and I'm not able to tell him what I need in a race car until you get more reps at it and more practice sessions. And so that whole 95 group, it wasn't an equipment problem, it wasn't a personnel problem, it was a circumstances that caused us from performing what we were capable of.
But you're still not in-house at Gibbs, right? I mean, it's a little different when you're in a powerhouse like Gibbs compared to a single car. I'm sure Martin would tell you that, the people that had to go to single car teams being in, a situation where they have the kind of resources that showcase racing is undeniable.
Yeah, I mean, we had a technical alliance that I feel like was capable of bridging that gap, but I'll let Adam answer and speak to the rest of it.
Yeah, I'll go back to your original question. You asked about maturity and improvement. I would say maturity, that hasn't changed. There's no question that wasn't our issue last year. It goes back to the reps and communication and us as a team understanding what he needs in his race cars. And even now that we're developing that understanding, when we unload, despite our best efforts, a lot of times we don't have it right. So that 20 minutes of practice makes a huge difference. It makes the difference from missing the balance on occasion to being able to right the ship. And those overnight adjustments, just like this weekend, if we had to race how we unloaded, we weren't going to win. But we were able to make some changes and help the car do what he needs to do. And after a number of races and a number of practice sessions and last year and majority of this year, we understand what he's looking for. So if we can give it to him, he'll run up front. If it's Martinsville, if it's, Loudon, if it's Kansas, Vegas, Texas, it doesn't matter. If we can give him what he's looking for in his car, then we'll run up front. So it's just a matter of that fundamental understanding and then communicating, him and I and our engineers, to constantly chase that balance and that feel that makes him his best.
All right, any questions in the press box?
Jim Mutter, motorsport.com for Adam. There could be, I would say, a very strong argument to be made that you guys have been one of or the top performing team since the playoffs started, if you consider incidents that weren't really in your control. And I just wondered if you compare that to how the season started, what are some of the things that you think you guys have really improved upon as the end of the year is drawing in?
I agree with your assessment. I appreciate that. I think compared to the beginning of the season, we weren't that far off. We suffered for finishing. We didn't suffer for performance. I think we fell all the way back to 32nd in the points, and we were certainly not a 32nd place team. Our setups weren't where they needed to be to start with this new car, but we were learning, and we were capable of running up front. You know, we crossed the finish line at Atlanta 1, P2, and got bumped to the back for going under the yellow line, and we were up front Vegas 1 and got loose over the bumps and spun out racing for the lead. And, you know, that was potential performance, and 2 top 5s gone that were well within our grasp. And then we had 3 or 4 events where we didn't give him much to work with. In Martinsville 1 and Phoenix 1 were 2 of those races. And then we had a stretch of some good finishes and good runs. And we've been competitive, and, you know, we've had some pit stops get away from us. We've had some strategy calls get away from us. And as a team, though, we knew that we had what we needed. And I remember telling Bell when we were 32nd in points, he was distraught and concerned, and I'm like, dude, I do not know what you're worried about. We have the performance, and the capability is right there. You're just having trouble seeing it. You remember that conversation?
Yeah, you were definitely a lot more positive than I was in that moment.
Yeah, so it's been there. It's been there the whole time. We just haven't had as many opportunities to show it as maybe we felt like we deserved or had coming to us, and hopefully we got one more in us.
All right, Adam, Christopher, Coy, congratulations again on the win. We wish you guys the best luck next weekend in Phoenix.
Thank you.